Hey guys, welcome to another episode from TFB TV. Today I'm with infamous Corey. Corey, thank you for being on again.
Not a problem.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure to have you here. And just before we start the video, I'd like to give a shout out to my former alma mater at Valley Forge in Pennsylvania. Thank you very much for sending this shirt, Chris Bechtel. I really appreciate it, and I'm rocking it every day. So, Corey, what do we have on the table for today?
All right, so right now we've got the M1903 Springfield bolt-action rifle, and then on the end of it we have the M1 rifle grenade launcher.
Okay.
So obviously this would be utilizing blanks, and you'd be shooting the M6A1 anti-tank rifle grenade.
Okay.
So as the name says, anti-tank, or you could also hit bunkers, hit fortified positions, or if you need to, you can lob it like a mortar, and it will still go off on the ground.
And these aren't just any blanks, though.
No, these are a lot more powerful. Basically, they took a regular 30-06 case, filled it up with as much powder as they could get, crimped it, and said, we're good.
Outstanding. So we actually don't have any of those today.
Unfortunately, they are very scarce, and they are actually very dangerous. So
Okay.
I don't want them.
Cool. So tell us more about the grenade launcher here that we're using.
So the 1903 and the grenade launcher would be issued to about one per squad. It would be the assistant squad leader would have it. He'd be the Grenadier. He'd have probably about 5 of these on his person for immediate use. He'd carry them in a bag or just tucked into webbing anywhere he needed to be. The range is about 200 yards with the regular blank, and there was actually a little auxiliary charge you could place in the bottom here, added about another 100 yards. But that's lobbing it, and that's from the shoulder. Effective range, if you're pointing it right at the target, is about 75 yards.
Okay. So tell us about its usage in World War II and the Korean War as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it was developed before the war, and then as the war began, they just started issuing them en masse. We had the M1 Garand, but the launcher, we were still developing it at that time, so if we needed a rifle grenade launcher, it'd be one of these. Used a lot in Europe, used a lot in North Africa and the Mediterranean, and also in the Pacific. Pacific, you didn't run into a lot of tanks, but you ran into a lot of fortified positions. So this would be really, really helpful with knocking out the enemy troops.
And that's what you are reenacting today?
Yes, I'm reenacting a member of the U.S. Marine Corps.
Okay. Can you tell Italian at all? Or?
I, as much as I hate to say it, this is kind of just a generic impression. I can do kind of any battalion or any division with this setup and change a few things and be a little bit more specific, but this gets me what I need to do.
Let's just say 1st Battalion, 9th Marines.
Sure.
Just to get my rocker off.
All right.
That works.
All right.
All right. So this was made for the Springfield, the 1903,
Mm-hmm.
and it was made for the M1,
Mm-hmm.
and it was also made for the Carbine as well.
Correct. They all had their own separate dedicated launchers.
Okay. And could you shoot through them with live rounds? How did that work?
Yes, you can shoot through these with live rounds. With the 03, it's simple. You just pop in a live round, it's fine. With the M1 Garand, you can do it with the M1 Carbine, you can shoot live rounds through it as well. The M1 Garand, though, is a little bit different because you actually have to turn off the gas system in order to use all the power from the blank to shoot off the rifle grenade. So, yes, you could shoot live ammunition, but when the launcher is on it, it would actually turn it off.
It would turn it into a bolt-action rifle, essentially.
Basically. Now, they had adapters later on in the war where it wouldn't turn off the gas system. It would only turn it off if there was a grenade on the end of it.
Okay. Absolutely. So walk me through some of the process of putting this on. Let's talk about how that would work if troops were engaged in World War II and the Korean War. What would that assistant squad leader be doing throughout that operation?
Most of the time, if they are in heavy combat, he's going to have it on here, ready to go at a moment's notice.
Okay.
If they're just kind of in the rear, they don't really need it. All it is a simple wing nut. You unscrew it, you flip it down, the little gate comes off.
So this exact one that you have, you actually produced this. You made this.
Yes, originals are very, very, very scarce, and they're very, very expensive.
Yeah.
So we figured, you know what, if we can make one. Why not make one ourselves? We don't have to worry about it because of time, it being damaged or being broken or ruining a piece of history. So just make our own. They're very, very, very simple.
It's a very faithful reproduction.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Appreciate that. He'd have live rounds, shooting it like a regular bolt action, like a regular rifle, and then once he spots the enemy, he has to pop out the live round that's in the chamber, put in a blank round. He can chamber that blank, and then just stick the rifle grenade on it, aim it, and you're good to go.
So there's nothing actually actively attaching that grenade to the end of the weapon?
No, it just slips on.
If you were to try to run around with that grenade could easily fall off.
Yes.
That's something to take in mind there.
Yes, on this one. On the one for the M1 Garand, there's a little special spring that helps keep it on, but it can still fall off.
And what about the carbine?
Carbine, I believe, had the spring retention as well.
Okay. And so can you go over to some of the sighting measurements? You were talking about some of the field expedient methods that guys in World War II used. Mention that on here.
Right. Well, first of all, the manual that we actually have a original of states that you can use the sight, the original sight, set at a certain distance, and then you can aim using the top of the round, or the top of the rifle grenade, to shoot it. Now, a lot of field expedients, what they did, because a lot of times you have to put the butt of the gun on the ground.
Yeah.
Just easier on the gun, easier on you. They would actually put pieces of tape on here, and what they would do, they put the butt of the gun on the ground, and then use their foot to stretch out the sling.
Okay.
And then these are set to certain angles. This would be probably about 60 degrees to the horizontal. This would be about 45 degrees, and this would be about 30 degrees. And they would know, based on that range, how far that grenade's going to go.
Wow, that is, I think that's as field expedient as you get.
Yeah.
It's not very mathematical at all.
No, well, and the thing is, you don't want to be sitting here going, okay, I need this a certain amount of angle. You got to go.
Right there.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Now, there's also a graduated sight that was made for this too.
Yes, there was the M15 sight. Those are a little finicky sometimes, and they can break off, and they weren't developed till a little bit later. But yes, they were used.
And this has the bevel, and you can put it was installed on the Grands and on the Springfields.
Yes, Springfield,
Okay.
Yeah, and the carbines as well.
What are the grenades that you have out today?
Okay, the only ones, unfortunately, that I have are the M6A1. So this would be anti-tank. But like I said, you could lob it in like a mortar, or you go right through a vision slit in a bunker, or it could actually punch a hole in the bunker. This is actually a shape charge. So it's designed to cut a tiny little hole in the armor, and then basically spew hot gas into whatever you're shooting at.
Okay.
They also had anti-personnel, which was basically they had a little grenade that would screw onto the end, or they had a grenade adapter. You could put a whole grenade on the end.
An actual fragmentation grenade.
Actual hand fragmentation grenade. They also had smoke rounds, and as well as starburst signaling rounds.
Starburst as well. And then, but you've got the actual one from World War II.
Yeah.
And then you also have some dummy rubber practice ones.
Right.
That we're shooting today.
Yeah, these are actually for reenactors. So these are all rubber except for the metal pipe here. But it's got a rubber head, rubber fins, so it's not going to hurt. However, you still don't want to shoot at anybody. Most of the time they recommend you don't shoot these practice ones below 45 degrees. But for reenactments or for tactical engagements, things like that, demonstrations, you can lob it around and be relatively okay.
Well, thank you very much for coming out today, Corey. I really appreciate you.
It's a lot of fun time.
Absolutely. We'd also like to thank some of our supporters, Ventura Munitions. They're an ammunition company that helps us with various rounds that we use in our videos. Unfortunately, they don't make any anti-tank or anti-personnel grenades, but if they did, we'd buy them just as well.
You could technically make your own.
That's illegal, Corey.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Oh, the grenades, yes. I thought you were talking about the blanks. I'm sorry.
Have a good day, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.